Vipassana, a beautiful term. I'm sure many of you, if you're already on the spiritual path or on the journey of going inwards, would have at least heard of this term, would have been aware of it already, highly likely. But even if you haven't yet been aware of this term, or you have not really paid it conscious attention, even when you have come across it, you're at the right place. Because this is the first of my videos in a series of what's going to be a lot of videos where I'm going to be delving deep into all about Vipassana meditation, which is practiced across the world, across continents by so many practitioners, and it has transformed so many thousands and thousands and thousands of lives by now in all the time that it has been introduced, ever since its introduction in India in 1976 by Sri S.N. Goenka. So as a Vipassana meditator who's done courses both in India and the US here, as a practitioner who's been into this for over the past decade, I truly hope of being able to provide a different sense of perspective, a sense of clarity, a sense of guidance on everything to do with Vipassana that comes to my mind, whether it's for someone who's just begun the journey, but especially for someone who's heard of it, who's contemplated the journey, or someone who's unsure but they would like to go in for it. So clearing the doubts, bringing in clarity, giving answers to a lot of questions which might be creating doubt or anxiety in the minds of lots of those who would really otherwise wish to practice this meditation. Now, to begin with, this is for those of you who are not aware, a 10-day residential course. That's how it's always practiced across the world. That's the format. In order to be a Vipassana student, to learn the Vipassana meditation, the first step has to be a mandatory 10-day residential course at any of the centers across the world, based on wherever you are. There are hundreds of centers, many of them across all the countries and different continents, and many of these centers are there in India. We will come to it, why it's mandatory to have a 10-day course. So this is how you begin the Vipassana practice, and it's natural because it's a 10-day residential practice with a lot of rules and regulations. It's very natural for anyone to feel anxious or to feel doubt or to wonder whether they would be able to go through it or not, or whether it's the right thing for them or not, to feel daunted, because it does appear daunting. So I'm going to get into a lot of things about what is right, what should be practiced, how can you prepare yourself much before the start of a course, how you can discipline yourself, what to do, what not to do. And I'm also going to be going deep into details about every single day of a Vipassana course, what happens right from day 0 to day 10 to when you finish the course, and what happens post that, and how you can truly make sure to sustain your practice, and all of it, what to do during the course, what not to do, how you can enhance your practice, and how you can get the maximum optimum utilization of this a course, even if it's going to be a once in a lifetime experience. So all of it I'm going to put into it, and I'm going to use, of course, a lot of my own reference point from my experience, from all that I experienced, the ups and downs and the thoughts and the doubts and everything that went into the making of my Vipassana journey. So coming back to the term Vipassana first, I think it's important to just talk briefly about the background and what Vipassana is. So this is the path of which was followed by Gautama Buddha. In fact, it was believed to have been discovered by Gautama Buddha, this path of Vipassana, as a route to enlightenment. He wanted to be free of suffering, as we all know, and he followed tried to follow a lot of paths which also involved a lot of extremes, till he came to the point when he realized that no extremes are going to work and a middle path is needed. And that's when he ended up being guided, discovering the path of Vipassana, and this is what led him ultimately to his enlightenment. And for all the rest of his years, till the end of his human life, he preached this to his disciples and to anyone who he felt it was right to preach it to, the path and the theory and the practice of Vipassana. Of course, so the origin was in India, but India was at that time, at Gautama Buddha's time, thousands of years back, it was not the same geographical boundary as it is today. So over a period of time, this tradition of Vipassana was absolutely lost in India, but it was well preserved in Burma. A lot of it is in the Pali language, and it happened to be well preserved in Burma, and it is from Burma that Sri S.N. Goenkaji, who is the person responsible for bringing the tradition back to its land of origin, India. It is there in Burma that he learned it. Now, Sri S.N. Goenkaji, who is no more, he passed away unfortunately in 2013. He belonged to a very prominent business family of Burma, and they were a very prominent and well-to-do business family there, and everything was going well in his life, and everything was hunky-dory, happily married, and everything which you can ask for, it was there for him. But there was one thing lacking, and that was his physical health. He ended up suffering from debilitating migraines, and they made him feel almost handicapped in his life. And it was at this time when someone happened to suggest to him to try a Vipassana course. So he was not sure, but he ended up going for the course with a lot of reluctance, without any enthusiasm. And as destiny had planned for him, he not only ended up doing the 10-day course, but he also ended up becoming a student, as a disciple of his Vipassana guru, his teacher. Goenkaji's path was set, and very soon conditions developed because of which it became impractical, unwise for his family, for him to continue staying in Burma, and he had to come back to India. And it was he got permission, formal permission from his guru for being able to teach Vipassana meditation, for being able to start Vipassana meditation here in India. And his guru was Sayagi Yuba Kin, and it was with the permission of his guru that he came to India and started thinking in terms of how to set the first Vipassana course, the first Vipassana retreat, in order for it to be made available for the wide masses in India who could integrate this practice, whoever wanted to, into their life and start being free of the suffering and the bondages and the miseries of their lives that they'd been so used to. So it's very interesting. Now, he started the first center, the first Vipassana center formally. He started in 1976, I think, and it was at Igatpuri, which is near Mumbai in Maharashtra. And it's a beautiful center. If any of you has ever been there, or if you haven't been, and if you live anywhere near Mumbai or in Mumbai, you can always go and visit it. It's beautiful. It's a global pagoda. They have this beautiful pagoda, golden pagoda, which can be seen from a long distance away, and you have beautiful grounds. It's a beautiful place at Igatpuri, and people are welcome to come and visit it. Of course, not in the areas where meditation happen, but it's a beautiful meditational place, and it's got a lot of information. It's got a lot of beautiful vibes as the first meditation, Vipassana meditation retreat. And after that, of course, a lot of centers have been established across the world now. A lot of interesting things happened, and I will come to the point which really attracts me about Vipassana. Of course, there are so many meditation practices across the world, and people benefit from all of those all the time. But what is it about Vipassana which really has always beckoned me, and which makes it so pure for me? That is the purity of the tradition that is evident in the way it is taught. It is not based on money. It is not based on a fee. It is not based on charges. Everything in a course, in a Vipassana 10-day meditation retreat, everything related to Vipassana which is taught to you, it is absolutely free of charge, and every single course is run on the basis of donation or dana, by which I do not mean at all that it's dana which is just been given the name of dan in just as a cover up. It is absolutely pure dana, because not a single rupee is accepted from you, not a single dollar is accepted from you if you haven't finished a course, if you haven't yet finished a 10-day course. Only and only when you have finished the course fully, at least one 10-day course, are you do you have the option of being able to donate? Are you allowed to donate? And once you have finished that your first 10-day course, you are free to make a donation from as little amount to as big an amount you want to. Donations are all anonymous. There is no one who's going to come to you suggesting the donation amount. There's no one who's going to come to you at the end of the course with a reminder of donation. Even if you walk out of the meditation center post your 10-day course without donating a penny, there is no one who's going to come to talk to you, remind you, or ask you for money. But that's the beauty of it. I doubt that if you have, once you finish the 10-day course, the amount of gratitude that you'll be filled with and the amount of humility that you'll be filled with, no matter how moneyed you are, just at being allowed to, receive all that with everything paid off, nothing being asked for you, and they serve you with humility. All your accommodation, your room, your bedding, your food, your electricity, and with all that you're gaining, and not a penny demanded, not a penny asked for. It is such a humbling experience, and an experience, even I'm not talking about what you gain spiritually, even just the experience of getting something where money is not being expected, is just because it's an offering of love for you to be able to integrate it into your life so that you can be free of suffering. It's a beautiful experience, and I doubt there is a soul who goes away without donating anything at all. You will want to go there and donate, and it's absolutely on the basis of these donations that the next Vipassana course is run, and the next and the next and the next, and that's how it happens all across the world. And till this moment of my speaking, this tradition is maintained, and I hope that this is how Vipassana's purity, the purity of the tradition, continues to be maintained for all times to come. Now, a very interesting a very interesting incident, which I'm sure it would be available around also in the public domain, but I also know of it because through N. Goenkaji's friend Jayesh Shah. Now, I happened to meet Mr. Jayesh Shah because he happened to be my husband's course instructor, assistant teacher, when my husband went for his Vipassana in Gorai, which is an island near Mumbai. So that's where he took his executive course. I will be talking also what an executive Vipassana course is in one of the coming videos. So he took his course there, and that's where he met Jayesh Shah ji, who has been Goenkaji's long-term friend and a neighbor when Goenkaji came back to India, and he was a part of his initial core team for working on the statistics and logistics of introducing Vipassana to the masses in India. So it was here my husband that met Jayesh Shah ji, and he invited a few students post the course. He just invited them if he felt something in them, just on a spontaneous vibe. Jayesh Shah ji happened to invite some of the students, including my husband, to visit him if they would like to at his home in Juhu for more discussions post the course. And of course my husband was happy at the opportunity, and when I came to know of it, I was so enthusiastic because I did not want to miss the opportunity. I wanted to go with him, really wanted to meet this teacher. I had been wanting to do Vipassana, I had not yet been able to, so I really wanted to go and meet Mr. J.S. Shah, and we did end up visiting him, and we ended up visiting many times, and it was such beautiful grace I believe I received from him, such beautiful sessions, such beautiful talks. And so in one of those times with Jayesh Shah ji, who is also nearly almost 90, even when we met him he was almost 90. Unfortunately, he also is no more. He passed away almost just a little while after Goenkaji passed away in 2013, so he is no more. But while he was there, and while I was there in Mumbai, we learned so much from him. So it was in one of those discussions and chats with Jayesh Shah ji that we learned that initially when Goenkaji wanted to start and he was thinking about the logistics of introducing the first Vipassana course in India, they were thinking about how they would be able to do it and what were the kind of funds that would be needed. And initially there was some talk of discussion of money, because they thought that maybe they could charge a nominal fee or something of that sort to start the courses, to help the courses in running. And I'm not sure if a course was tried on that basis or not, or whether it was just a thought. But it was almost immediately, that thought was deserted, and it was the realization came from Dhamma to Goenkaji within him that no, this was not right and he cannot do this. Money would not have any role to play with. Exchange of money would have, as a prerequisite would have no role to play with whatsoever in a person who is coming to learn Vipassana. It has to be pure Dhamma. It has to be on pure Dana. And that is how the tradition continued, and there it hasn't stopped. See, money has never been a concern. There you can see, if you go to a Vipassana central website, and if you check out the center dates for courses across the world, of centers across the world, there's a course has never stopped because of lack of funds. All the courses for months ahead have been mentioned, and they run absolutely in the clockwise manner, and whatever is the money which is obtained from Dana in the previous course, post the course, of course, whatever people donate, that is what is used for the next course and the next, and the buffer, and that's how it all goes into maintaining the center and into everything that goes into the offering of Vipassana courses and all the services associated with that. So that is the beauty of the pure tradition, and that it is something which really personally resonates with me, and it really attracts me. So apart from that, old practitioners can also go and offer service during these courses and help around with the people who have come to learn the course. So that's how it works, and it's a beautiful tradition. So that is how Vipassana started in India, being offered to the people. Now I will come to why it is a 10-day course, because I'm sure that's a thought which deters many people from going into Vipassana, even if they really want to. Because when I wanted to go in for Vipassana, I was desperate. I really wanted to go into it, and yet I found it so daunting, the very thought of it, because it can be a daunting thought. 10 days of a hard meditation practice with so many rules and regulations, and not being able to be in touch with anyone outside the center, not being able to talk to anyone, it can be daunting. So I went through that whole cycle, but that it is a 10-day course, because the way Vipassana was practiced by Gautama Buddha, it was not meant for, originally it was not something which was meant for householders. Very briefly stated, it was meant for people who had who were practicing renunciation, who were not leading a regular householders' lives. But in modern times, when this practice has been brought to modern times, it's of course they don't expect everybody to be a monk in order to be able to gain some benefits of Vipassana, and it is in order to bring the essence of this meditation, the essence of its benefits, to the majority of the masses who are householders, that this 10-day course has been devised. And it's considered, the 10-day period is considered mandatory, and the minimum amount which is required in order to provide the benefits in a sense of this meditation. If it's anything lesser than this, it's believed that no true value, no true benefits will be received by the people. So in order to fully be able to teach all of it in the shortest version possible, but without losing their sense, at least 10 days is required. They have cut away the months or the years which would be required by someone who's going away into a jungle, say, to practice Vipassana. So this is the format, the only way as of now in which they think it can be practiced. It can be brought to people who are householders and leading regular lives. So at least 10-day is a period which is of seclusion which is required, and that's the minimum period which is required to be able to gain all that Vipassana, this practice, this course wishes to be able to impart for anyone to receive its benefits. And that's why the 10-day as of now is mandatory. But there are many other things which you can avail of after you've done at least one 10-day course, and I will be discussing those also, all the benefits and all that you can avail of once you've done at least this 10-day course, and all other things again in other videos. So well, this was, I believe, the crux of Vipassana. Now I will, before I end this video, of course, I think I should talk very briefly about what Vipassana actually means. So very simply put, Vipassana means seeing things as they are, being in absolute acceptance of the current moment, being in the current moment. I'm sure you've heard of this term, this sentence many times, mindfulness, or just being in the present moment, being in the current moment, living in the current moment. But this is in Vipassana, it's not really called mindfulness meditations, it's insight meditation. So the core is to be in the current moment, to accept it without thinking of the past, what happened in the past, without wanting to go back to the past, or without thinking of the future, of what the future ought to be, should be. Like, it's complete presence in the present moment, in the current moment, accepting it for what it is without any sense of craving or aversion, without giving into craving or aversion. Now, craving or and aversion are two terms which anyone should remember as the two key words if they are intending to have Vipassana as part of their life. Even if you remember, do not remember other parts of the theory, other parts at every given point of time. Make sure that at least you have these two pointers or clues which are in your mind at all times, because they will be your primary guides as to if you're following the practice correctly or not, and if you're truly on the right path, and if you're truly gaining, if you're truly expanding your practice, being able to progress on it or not. So aversion is simply said hatred of, or revulsion towards, or extreme dislike for something which you feel gives you suffering, which you feel does not give you the love, the joy, the pleasure, the comfort, or the convenience, according to what these terms mean to you. And craving is the opposite, which is extreme passion, extreme desire, or wish for something which you feel gives you joy or happiness or sensual pleasure or excitement or enthusiasm, and to want the continuance of that experience of joy, which of course we know is not possible, because life is about circles, it's about cycles, always and always. What goes up comes down, and vice versa. That is the rule of law, that's the rule of nature. It's cyclical, everything is cyclical. All life is energy, and energy is never static, or it is always dynamic, it's always changing. So the core is to face the present moment, be in the present moment without being resisting it through aversion, not wanting it because it's something which it's not giving you joy, or without craving. So of course we all have these experiences. We cannot be free of aversion or craving or all sorts of emotions till we are alive, but the key is to not react through aversion or craving, to not react from these, to be aware, to be mindful of those. So those are two keywords which will be your pointers always in your Vipassana journey. And on this note, I will want to end this video, and I hope it was of some benefit to get you started off. And there's lots more coming up. We'll be going to lots more details, and I promise all questions, all doubts will be answered, whatever you might have related to Vipassana journey, whether you're already on it or planning to start it. And this can be a truly life transformational experience, even if you go into it just once in your lifetime and then continue practicing it on your own. So we will be going into all those things in the coming videos. Do stay with me. If you like this video, give it a like, subscribe to my channel, go ahead and share it with other people who you think might benefit, and make sure to come back for the next video in this series. Take care and namaste.